Okay.
Sorry, just getting a quick pump.
Right. God, I love the pump. So, I'm Jackie Robinson here with Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course. You obviously recognize him. And we're going to do a little interview for you. And so I'm going to start it off. All right. Hello, Arnold. I'm just going to jump right into the interview if that's all right.
That's fine.
All right. So, Arnold, is it okay that I call you Arnold?
Sure.
Absolutely. Okay. So Arnold, some say that you may be the most famous bodybuilder in history. Is that accurate? And that you've changed or innovated bodybuilding to how it is today? How do you believe that you've changed or innovated bodybuilding?
When I came to America, the sport of bodybuilding had not yet reached the shores of Europe or Asia, and I think that it came as a shock to the world to see this 6'2", 250-pound beast of a man standing in front of them, flexing all the muscles, the biceps, the triceps, the lats, the glutes, the hammies, the lower back, the traps. And so in general, I do not think that the world had been exposed to my elite body type, and it definitely inspired future bodybuilders to improve their stature.
All right. Okay. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Well,
Of course.
that's just incredible. Thank you so much for that. Now on to my next question. So tell me about how you personally overcame the tough challenges that were present between your father immigrating from Austria and not being able to speak English very well. How did you come over those?
I moved from Austria to America when I was 21 years old, and my father was a Nazi, a police chief, and he beat me, intimidated me as a young boy. He would set me up in fights with my older brother, and he always did like my older brother more than me. And when I told him that I wanted to be a bodybuilder, he just laughed at me, and so definitely. When I got to America, speaking English, it was definitely difficult, and there was a lot of discouragement at first, but I picked up on English pretty fast, so it's not really as tough as you think.
Nice. Could you elaborate on your father and how he had an impact on your will to overcome doubt in the beginning of your career and strive to just be the best?
I don't really like to talk much about my father.
I'm so sorry.
But he always liked my older brother more than me, and that always drove me to be better and be the best that I can be. And to be honest with you, I started a new life when I got to Venice Beach in California. And California really adopted me as its own son, and so I forgot about my real father, and in fact I didn't even attend his funeral when he died in 1970s.
Oh man, that's really rough. Sorry to bring up that tough topic, and thank you very much for sharing that with me today. I have one last question for you. What methods do you use to separate yourself from the competition and eventually climb to the top to win 6 straight Mr. Universe and become the best bodybuilder in history?
I don't think that I'm the greatest ever. I mean, have you seen Jake Cutler lately? He would terminate me. But the philosophy that I always followed when I was training was to shock the muscle, and shock the muscle. And when you go into a gym for chest day and you'll always do 5 sets of 225 by 10, your muscles are going to prepare themselves for the workout. They will say, I know all your tricks and you can't fool me. So what I would do is start at 250 by 10 and have the guys take off a plate and do 2 more. And all the way down to 135. My pec muscles would be twitching and cramping and screaming at me, and that is how I knew that they were growing. And it's all about the pump. And the pump is that twitching and cramping, that feeling that your skin is about to tear and your muscle is going to explode through, and that is what I live for, truly. There's no greater feeling than the pump, no greater ecstasy. And every time I go into the gym, I just keep working for a greater pump, and that is really the key to being a champion.
Man, that's impressive. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. That's great information. Now I believe it's your turn to ask me some questions.
Of course. Now, Jackie, I guess the one thing I have to know is how your baseball career got started. And as a fellow athlete, I know there are always obstacles over to come. And were there any for you?
Absolutely, there were challenges from poverty to having no father figure around to racism in Cairo, Georgia, where I grew up. It's a very southern town. The way I got into baseball was just playing out with my friends and with my brother. I was never pegged as the baseball player. I was pegged as an athlete. I'd pick up a football, throw it 50 yards, run some track, pretty fast guy. I always played sports as a kid with my brother, who inspired me to become the best and to keep playing no matter what challenges came up. The sport never truly mattered as long as I was playing it. I was always good at whatever I did.
That's great stuff, man. I never was the most coordinated. I could just, lift heavy weights.
Yeah.
So, and how did you ultimately, change the sport in baseball?
Well, I'd like to think I brought color to the professional baseball world. Other than that, I feel like that I changed the way baseball was played and changed the stereotypical baseball player from a slow guy who can hit the ball to a speed demon that can launch the ball and
I have seen your tape. You're a fast guy.
and steal bases. And steal bases. That's how I'd like to change. That's how I'd like to think I changed the game.
Cool. So, do you consider yourself a hero of some sorts for your race?
I wouldn't think of myself as a hero, but rather a role model for the African American race and a model for blacks to stand up against racism and do what they truly love. Just persevere.
That's very inspiring. Now, for my last question, what did you do after your inspirational baseball career?
Well, after baseball, I got invested in businesses and became an executive for the Chock full of Nuts coffee and restaurant chain organization, while still maintaining a social presence and influence and an influential voice for African Americans. I also served on the board of the NAACP until 1967 and was the first African American to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for this interview, Arnold. It's been great.
It's absolutely. It has been my pleasure.
Thank you.